All right, so we are here with Atneciv. Atneciv, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a
Good,
beautiful
good.
day, and I
Oh my
am
gosh.
enjoying the sun.
Same, girl. Same. I'm trying to get and take in all that vitamin D because
Yes.
I'm letting go of that winter blues. So you
Yes,
already
the
know.
winter depression is real. When
It
I
is.
tell you it's real,
It
it's
is.
a real thing.
For sure. Listen, I'm all for the beach. I'm a summer girl. I was born in the winter, but I'm a summer girl for sure.
Yeah, so I was born in the winter, but when I tell you like I love like late summer, early fall, that's
Yeah.
my that's my favorite season.
It's still
yeah.
warm though.
Yeah, when it's a little warm with
Yeah.
like a slight breeze, like that's it
Mhm.
for me.
For sure.
That is
yes.
it for me.
It's refreshing.
It is really
Mhm.
refreshing.
Yeah.
So at Nessie, we are gonna start off with your name because I know initially when I first met you, I was just like at Nessie. That is such a unique name. Tell me about your name and where did it come from?
I get that everywhere because clearly, like nobody has my name ever.
No.
And I'll tell you a funny story about that in a second. But actually, my name comes from my great grandmother.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's my name, her name backwards. So her name is Vicenta,
Oh,
and my
okay.
name is Atneciv. And
Oh my
so
gosh.
initially, like in my early years when I was a child, I always struggled with that because
Yeah.
it's like I'm constantly trying to help people pronounce it. And they're like, how do you say that? And I would be repeating myself over and over, right?
Yeah.
But as I got older, I started owning it. It was one of those things
You
where it's
should
like
own
it
it.
really helps me develop that identity. Like you don't see no other Oprah out here,
No,
Okay, so
there's
there's-
only one Oprah.
and there's only one at Nestle.
Yes.
So you know
I
I'm
love it.
owning that. Funny story is one time I googled my name.
You
I'm trying
Googled
to
your
see.
name, and what came up?
So I'm looking. I was like, I'm trying to see if anybody else got my name right, and it came out that it had one result. So
Oh.
in Google, you get to zoom in wherever that location is.
Yeah.
I kept zooming in. It was in the United States. I'm like, all right, there's another Atneciv here. Lo and behold, it was in Connecticut. I was the only Atneciv, and I'm like, okay.
Isn't that
so
funny though?
I googled myself to only find there's only one of me. Yep.
Well, that just shows you are unique and you have a unique purpose. So I love that. I love
Well,
that.
it's also I want to be able to honor my ancestors. It's one of those things where like in previously I didn't really believe it, but I'm like, this is my family's lifeline.
Yes,
you
your
know what I
legacy.
mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely, and my family, like my great grandmother, she was an entrepreneur too. She
Oh,
was a
okay.
doula. We call that a comadrona in
Okay.
Spanish, and
A
she
comadrona.
comadrona.
Yeah.
She literally helped birth all of the children in our town.
Oh,
so
that is
like,
amazing.
isn't
Look at
it?
that.
Yeah.
That's your family's roots, your history.
for sure. So I wanna keep that legacy. Like this is her name. Yeah.
Yeah. Honoring her legacy.
For sure.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I know aside from your name at Nessie, you also have gone by the Disruptor.
Yeah.
I know when we initially met and you told me that's another thing that you identify as the Disruptor, and I
Yeah.
was just like very intrigued, like the Disruptor. Tell me a little bit about that, and
Yeah.
how do you own being a disruptor in your roles?
Yeah. You know what's funny is that I find that in every space that I'm in, I'm always like questioning, right?
Yeah.
I consider myself very inquisitive more than I am critical, but I also see that there's a lot of injustices,
Okay.
and I'm constantly like challenging the status quo.
Yes, as you
So not because I want to be, because I'm genuinely curious though, like
Mhm.
why are you thinking that way? Why is it that you have this perspective when I have this one, right?
Yes.
Why is it that your lived experience is different from mine? And I'm constantly trying to figure out why the why in people's lives. And so a lot of times I've been called controversial,
like
that
rebellious, they may think in a
rebellious.
sense, yeah.
I mean, you could, the
Yeah.
B word, whatever name you want to put out there, I've been called. And it's not because I want to challenge anybody,
Yeah.
it's because, look, disruption doesn't mean that you have to be, confrontational. I don't want to be aggressive. Sometimes it just leads it to be that.
Yeah.
I think disruption really is just stopping the conversation so that you could allow other people to have this space. Right, and I love that. I love being a disruptor because I have enough confidence to let other people shine and give other people the space to also question things.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that genuine curiosity is something that you don't always find. A lot of times, especially in today's role, in today's world and society, a lot of times people just go along with like the trend or like the status quo.
For sure.
So to get someone who challenges and who has questions and is constantly questioning the world around them, that is unique, and I can see how you can be misunderstood. But hearing the disruptor and hearing how you talk about how you are able to identify and own that, I love how you just present with that.
Yeah, well, society's so accustomed to having yes men around us.
Yes, that is so
everybody
true.
Everybody has to comply. Everybody has to think that this is the way it is.
Go along with the trend.
No. Why can't we have both? Why can't we embrace both? Like I mentioned, it's not to be confrontational. I don't mean to put up a fight, but sometimes it leads to that.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of that. I embrace being able to challenge that, because sometimes that's what creates a change in policy, especially in today's, how we're living today. Look at how controversial things are in general, and I want to be able to question that. I want to know why. It's part of probably ADHD, right? I have ADHD brain, but I also want to know, because if it doesn't work, it doesn't make sense in my mind, I can't move forward. And I don't know if a lot of people, relate to that, but it's I need to make it make sense.
Yeah. It needs to make sense, because if it's not making sense, then there's no purpose in it.
Right. So I need to disrupt this. Okay, first of all, let's roll back a little bit. Why is this happening? What is the purpose? What's the why? So that I could fully understand, and then we could move forward. Even if I disagree with it. Right, I just need to know,
you need to understand it better in order to be able to move forward.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Disruption is a good thing.
It is. In many cases, people think it's a bad thing, but it's the other way around. Yeah. It's okay to stop the conversation, to pause and say, let's reflect on what is happening right now. Let's reflect to see if what we're going to do next makes sense, and then move forward.
Yeah, I find that disruption has allowed me to open a lot of doors, or it has opened a lot of doors for me, because I have the confidence to do that. I have the confidence to do what most people don't do.
Yes, you do. You do. And I've seen that in you.
Mm-hmm.
You own and you embody the sense of disruption and being a unique individual.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I love about you.
Thank you. No, for sure. Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about just identifying as a disruptor. Tell me about some of the roles, because I know that you are a business consultant, a coach. Tell me about some of your roles and how you identify in those roles.
Mm-hmm. So I do have a lot of roles, right? And sometimes a lot of people ask me, how are you doing this? You're doing so many things. Sometimes I find myself thinking that I'm not doing enough. Believe it or not. And I think it's a good thing to be able to tap into things. Like I mentioned, I'm very inquisitive. I like to know a lot of things. I like to tap my hand in it, because I don't like people knowing more than me. Yeah. Or having a conversation where they might take advantage of me. And I know that stems from trauma, you know what I mean? But I think it's important to be knowledgeable in the things that you're in, so that people don't take advantage, so that people, have the opportunity to help you grow or be educated in it. So yes, I do have my hands in a lot of things. I also find that I'm the type of person to compartmentalize. So while I'm in many spaces, I'm not thinking about aesthetics while I'm doing business consulting, right? I'm not thinking about domestic violence when I'm writing a book. Or I might be, right? They might be interchangeable. But I compartmentalize, when I'm hyper-focused on one thing, I'm focused on that thing. And I don't know if everyone could manage to that capacity, but a lot of people also think that I'm involved in so many things that I'm doing it all at once. A lot of these things were past tense. It's over and done with. I did it, but I'm not continuing to do it.
But it's part of your experience.
Yes.
Like roles that you've been involved in, facilitated, and now it's part of your experience and who you are.
Right.
And now you're able to help other people who are struggling in those areas, who need help and advocacy in that area too.
Yeah. Well, all these lived experiences help shape me, right? It helps shape my character. It helps shape, what I'm knowledgeable in, how I'm able to help other people, how I've become a resource to other people. So I embrace being able to tap in all of the things. And I often question, why don't they ask J-Lo why she's in so many things, why she sells?
They don't. They never ask J-Lo.
They don't ask Oprah why she started a magazine.
So why should they ask you those questions?
Exactly.
Why are you so involved? Because that's who you are, and that's how you carry out your purpose.
Right. And some people want to, hone in on a specific niche. I'm not a niche type of girl, right? I want to do everything. I want to say I did it. I tried it. If it didn't work for me, it didn't. But I want to say that at least I was able to have that opportunity to say I did it and it didn't work for me.
Yes.
Next.
At least you have the opportunity and the experience,
For
and
sure.
that's what matters at the end of the day. Even if you are involved in something that doesn't ultimately work out, you can say, I tried this. Like, this is something that I put my best
Yes.
effort in, and it didn't work out ultimately, but I have the experience and I've learned from it.
Absolutely. I encourage people to tap into those things that they've always wanted to do. It's important to be able to fulfill that dream. Again, if it does not work out, the worst thing that happened is you're back to the same
Yeah.
spot that you were in before.
Exactly.
That's the worst thing that can happen. If not, the best thing that can happen is that you can thrive and flourish
Yeah,
in
you
that
can
new
learn
thing
from
that
it
you
and
wanted
move
to do.
on. Yes.
Why not, right? Why not you?
I love that. I love that. So, considering all of the different roles that you've been involved in, and the term that you coined yourself as a disruptor, tell me, have you experienced imposter syndrome being in
Girl.
those roles? Tell me a little bit about that.
I feel like imposter syndrome, it happens to everybody, right? Nobody's immune to this.
No one is.
And even with having credentials or all these accolades or, you know, these leadership roles that I've been in, I still feel like, oh my God, am I good enough? Am I worthy to do it? And sometimes I feel like when it comes to education, right? I ended up getting my master's. I didn't need to. I didn't need to go out and do that. I don't know why I decided to go and spend an extra $20, $30, $50,000, right? But I felt like there was a little bit of pressure from society, in terms of credibility, right? Like, what makes you qualified? Like, people think that, and maybe it's my own internal insecurity on that. But I don't think that I needed it. I was doing the work before I received my master's and all of that. So I feel like imposter syndrome can happen to anybody, but it's not how you overcome it. I don't want to say you have to overcome. It's really just how you process, right? It's really how you continue to work through it. Because I'm gonna have imposter syndrome tomorrow when I have a new idea.
That's a good point.
You know, I'm gonna have imposter syndrome in a week or next year when I decide to launch a new venture. It's always gonna come up, but it's a matter of, okay, how I'm going to process this.
See, I like that you talk about processing it, because when you think about imposter syndrome and you think about self-doubt, a lot of people think about, oh, it's something that I have to overcome, it's something that I have to get on the other side. And I think that's just all part of society, where they're always thinking about the end goal or the finishing. Right. When a lot of times it's in the journey and it's in the process that makes a difference. How are you processing it? How are you getting through it, so that when it does showing up itself again, because it will, how am I going to get through it again using those skills that I learned initially?
Right.
Yeah.
And imposter syndrome, whether we like it or not, stems from insecurity, right?
It does.
I want to be able to say, I tried everything in my power to practice this, to make sure that this is going to go well. That's how I can confidently show up. If I start to have those feelings of imposter syndrome, that means I didn't try or practice enough. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's
if
true.
I start feeling like I didn't, you know, that I'm not able to fulfill this, is because I'm probably not ready. The good thing is that I'm confident enough to say I'm just going to do it whether I'm ready or not.
Yes.
Because if not, I'm going to overthink it, right? And that's where that insecurity comes from.
That's where the insecurity does come from, yes.
And the processing is the important part, because you have to process whether you feel insecure about it, whether you feel like you're not ready, because waiting for the perfect time is never going to happen.
Yeah. The perfect time, it will never arrive. You have to just go with it, and you have to make the time perfect,
right.
If that makes sense.
Exactly.
A lot of times people think, oh, when I have the perfect car, when I have the perfect house, when I have the perfect marriage, when I have the perfect business, it's never going to happen. You have to make yourself ready, and you have to create the perfect situation, and just go along with it from there.
There's always going to be something wrong.
Yes,
There's always going to be something. My hair is not ready. I'm not at the right weight. I didn't write the book. I didn't finish school. There's always going to be a problem.
Always.
And if you're going to wait for that, years is going to pass by, and you're not going to fulfill it. You're not going to accomplish it. You might as well go all in.
Yes, you're right. Go all in and just make sure, and just see what the results lead after that. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
So, being a disruptor, and the fact that you've experienced imposter syndrome and you've been able to process your way through it, what are some tips or strategies that you can offer to other people, especially business owners, entrepreneurs, mompreneurs, that are struggling with imposter syndrome? Just with your experience and how you've been able to process through the journey, what are some tips or strategies you can offer to them to help them when they struggle with imposter syndrome?
That's a great question. You know, one of the things I constantly say and this is my saying, I have keychains and everything, is who gonna check me?
Ooh, who gonna check me? Okay.
Who gonna check me? Because at the end of the day, like I mentioned, the worst thing that can happen is you get a no, or you're gonna be in the same spot that you were before. So just go for it, right? Go
Yes.
for it, because who's gonna tell you no? Who's
No
gonna tell
one.
you can't?
Yeah.
Who's gonna tell you something bad? And if they do, you're gonna have a rebuttal, because you've already thought about what you wanted.
Mhm.
You have the vision and the mission. Nobody knows what your vision is gonna look like.
Mhm.
Nobody can, they're not in your mind. So that's one of the things, is just convince yourself that it's for me, it's come hell or high water. Who's gonna check me? There's nobody who could tell me, like, unless you're gonna fight me. You know what I mean? And I don't recommend it, right? But it's like, what can you possibly do for me not to fulfill my dream, right? So who's gonna hold me back? But another thing is also put in that practice, right? Put in that practice. A lot of people make entrepreneurship look easy today. Everybody's a CEO.
Yeah. They make it look like it's for the aesthetic, right? Like this beautiful vision, the dream car, the jet life, their vacations, the traveling,
the photo shoots. Yeah. That's all the fun stuff.
Yeah, they don't show the ins and outs, the late nights when you're up late at night trying to do a business plan, the early mornings when you're struggling to try to get like funding for your business. A lot of people don't talk about those ins and outs because they show like the glamorous part of it.
Right. So I think ultimately what you need to do is take in the fact that you're putting in practice all of the things that you've learned and implement. Right? At the end of the day, if you get something wrong, you're learning from it. There's no loss in it. You're not losing. You're not gonna, rejection is gonna come whether or not.
Rejection will always be there.
So,
always.
People are gonna come and complain. You could be a peach and people are still gonna be allergic.
They're always gonna find something wrong, right?
Yeah, and I could tell you a bunch of cliches, right? Statements or, things or quotes or whatnot, but I think it's ultimately like, just go for it.
Go for it.
Like Nike, just do it.
Just do it, right?
Because it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you could try it and it doesn't work. And if you do try it, you could flourish, you could fly. Mm-hmm. I think one of the most beautiful things that I've been blessed with is the confidence to not allow people to get in my head. Because a lot of the
confidence is key.
Yeah, because imposter syndrome stems from people projecting that negativity. When people come to you and say, well, how do you know that you're going to be successful? Or you can't do that. So you start believing that, right? Especially when you're surrounded by people that you love, people that you believe in, people who you trust, start saying things like that, and it happens. It happens.
It does.
But we can't let people think, let people's words come to our heart. You have to evaluate and discern those that are around you. Like, look at them, look at their situation. Is the person telling you can't do it broke, living in someone's basement? Or is that person thriving? Right. So you shouldn't be taking somebody who's living in the basement and broke. You shouldn't be taking their advice because you have a vision and they don't know what it is. They're only projecting their fears onto you, and they might be doing it out of love. There's nothing wrong with that, but you have to believe in yourself more.
I love that you talk about believing yourself, because as you talked about, a lot of times when like family members, friends, people that we're close to, when they aren't successful at something, when they've tried and they've failed, they'll project that onto you and they say, oh, she's not going to make it, her business is going to fail, who does she think she is, all of those types of talks. And you can't, as you said, you can't let that stop you from being who you are and from taking you where you're trying to get to. Exactly. You can't let their projections internalize you and turn that into limiting beliefs, self-doubt, imposter syndrome, and whatever else have you. You kind of have to take an assessment, take those words as a grain of salt, and just keep moving forward, knowing in your head, I have a vision, I have a plan, I have a goal that I'm trying to reach, and I'm not going to let what anyone says or does get in the way of that.
Exactly. And eventually you'll sell your vision to people once you start proving it to them.
Yes, you will.
Because they're going to be like, oh, I don't think you could do it. All right, just go out and do it and show them.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a big proponent of let's go ahead and let's go ahead and do it. And I'm going to take 10 pictures while I'm doing it so you can see I'm doing it. One thing that I know is that once I put something in my head, maybe it's just the way I kind of process things, that I hyper focus on it. Like, I can't let nobody tell me I can't do it. And then the more people tell me I can't do it, the more I want to do it.
I was gonna say it too. So I'm the same way. Like once I have something set in my peripheral, like this is what I'm gonna do. I am set on this is what I want to get done, and I just try to imagine different ways of getting it done.
Yeah.
And when I hear other people say, "Oh, she's gonna fail. She's not good at this. What do she
well,
think?" I put that in my head, and I'm just like, "Okay, well now I'm gonna prove you wrong. You just gave me more motivation and more fuel, and now I'm gonna prove you wrong and take pictures while I'm doing it to show you this can be done, and I'm gonna be the person to do it."
Exactly. I absolutely love that, because you know what, it's hard to build that confidence. It's hard to think that way. I mean, I have, past traumas. I've had a lot of different types of lived experience, urban trauma, right? Things that were out of control, our own control, our own family's control, right? But one thing that just drives me is being able to dream, being able to see things like
beyond your own own immediate situation.
Yes, and I think too is because I've been exposed to certain things, right? A lot of times we have this fixed mindset and we're stuck in a specific place because we haven't seen more than that. Once you're exposed, right? Once you've sat first class, once you've sat first class,
sitting
you don't
want to
go back to coach. You know what I'm saying?
It's not the same sitting in the back with coach.
It's not. You have people tending to you, give you more snacks.
You're like, okay, this is the life. This is where I need to be.
Once you've traveled, right, out of the States, or you've done, like different types of excursion, you're not just gonna want to go to Miami.
No.
You're gonna want to go, let's go to Aruba, let's go to Greece. Like, there's different spaces and places, and you need to be exposed, and you need to learn how to dream, right? And even if you don't see it for yourself, read about it.
Yes.
Envision it. What is it that you want to see?
Reading opens up so many doors mentally where you can envision and put yourself in space. Even if you're not able to be there physically, it broadens your mind and your horizon, that you're able to think beyond the immediate situation or surroundings.
Right. That's why professional development and personal development is key. Like, I'm constantly picking up a book. I don't care, if it's something like minute where I might be learning, just a small skill, but I'm like, you know what, this is something that's been missing. I need to pick this book up. I'm gonna read it and practice it, right? Because I don't know what that's gonna lead me to. Maybe that's the key that's been missing. And similar to what you asked earlier, how do I get into so many things, is because it's like, I'm ambitious. I want this for me, right? Nobody can stop me, and if I say I want this, I'm gonna go and get it. But I don't feel confident in it, or I feel like I don't have enough money. Okay, well, how can I get more money? I need a book on that.
Yes.
Right? You could definitely pick up skills just by reading.
So I know that one of the latest books that I've been reading is Atomic Habits. Tell me, what's one book that you recommend that you've been reading lately or have read in the past? What's one good book, personal development related, that you can recommend?
So E-Myth is one of them. And it's talking about like the work week and the myths about business and entrepreneurship. So I recommend people to definitely look at that.
I'm gonna put that on my readers list.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Energy Bus is another one. It's really about building your momentum. It's one of them that I keep on like my top notch books. But there's so many books out there.
5 a.m. Club, that was one of the readings.
I have not read that one.
That was a really good one. I just finished reading that one. And then I moved on to Atomic Habits. But the 5 a.m. Club, that was a really good book for me too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think one is The Slight Edge.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
Oh my God! If anybody is starting entrepreneurship, that's definitely one.
I'm gonna put that on my readers list.
It's probably like Atomic Habits. It's all about building those habits. So The Slight Edge is you really gotta read that.
So speaking of books, you're an author too. Tell me a little bit about that.
So it's funny. I started writing books, and it wasn't like official books then. It was more about workbooks. In my past life, I was an advocate for victims of domestic violence, and I wanted to provide a tool, a resource for these women who were experienced toxic relationships, all about safety planning. So I created that, and a friend of mine who's also a coach, Rachel Luna, shout out, right? She had done like this group. I forgot, La Plume Society she had done. It was like a group where she brought a bunch of women together and taught them how to write their own book or whatnot. And, eventually I was able to just publish that workbook, and I'm like, oh my God, if I could do this, I could write anything. And once I learned the process, like, it's been such a great journey. I've been able to self-publish about 14 different items, from workbooks to planners to books to anthologies, all of these things, and now I'm doing the same thing. I'm teaching other women how to become their own authors and just get out of their own way, right? It's really just believing in yourself that you can do it.
Believing in yourself is key, and I love that you are able to take your experiences and things that you've gone through, struggle with, and overcome, and be able to pour back into other people that are struggling.
Yeah.
Because I believe that it's one thing to have purpose, but when you're able to translate that purpose into making an impact, that is like a complete game changer.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. And I think it's really just being able to say, look, I need accountability, and sometimes it's okay to ask for help. Right?
Yes,
a lot of times we're so stuck on like, I'll do it myself. This independent women,
yes.
independent women,
Strong,
right?
Independent
no,
women.
like you need accountability. It's okay to ask for help.
It's okay to ask for help and to accept help.
Yeah.
Because I think like that, for me, that was like a big thing too. Learning to ask for help and realizing I don't have to do it on my own. And then accepting help too. Because it's twofold. Accepting the help when it's given to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been offered, help in many instances, and I'm like, no. In fear that it might get thrown in my face, or
that's a big thing, because you're worried about people are going to say, well, if they help me now, they're going to talk about me later,
or because of me. No.
If it wasn't for you, like.
And now I have no shame in saying, because of this person, I was able to do that. Because guess what? I'm also able to do that for other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's nothing more rewarding than to hear someone say, "Thank you, you helped me through this," right? And that's when I realized that I need to be giving people credit for the help that they've given me too. And I didn't realize how important that piece was. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So tell us, you talked a little about your roles, about imposter syndrome. Tell us how we can stay connected with you, because that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can follow me on social media at She's a Firebrand.
She's a firebrand.
She's a firebrand. I've kind of been leaning towards that in the past year, because of course, it's all about disruption and just doing things out of the regular, right? It's not the norm. I want women to understand that they can do it their way. It does not have to be a one size fits all. It's not that way. And so you can follow me on She's a Firebrand, or you could go on my website at leadhership.biz.
Leadhership. Yes. And so tell me, how did you come up with the She's a Firebrand and Leadhership? Because to me, like those tags, they make a statement. Yeah. I'm just like, she's a firebrand, okay, and leadership. You usually hear the word leadership, but lead her, it tells me she's empowered. Like the person that I'm going to is empowered and is going to empower me. Yeah. That's what that sounds like.
Well, it really is just that. I guess it's my history. Because I've been suppressed for a really long time. Just a lot of times I wasn't allowed to speak up. I wasn't, like, people, didn't let me say what I needed to say. I was just held back. And I'm in a world, or in my world, right, where I'm like, it's all or nothing. Let me speak up. I own it. I stand in my ground. And, I embrace that so much. So I want other women to feel how I feel. Yeah. I want other women to feel empowered, even if they have no one. I want them to feel empowered. I walk into spaces that I know. I could walk into a space where every person does not like me, and I will sit there and I smile and I sit right next to the girl. You know what I mean? So I am just so
with
confident.
A smile.
With a smile on my face, and I'll probably say hi. But I feel so confident to know that I'm walking in my purpose. Yeah. Like nobody could tell me no. Nobody could tell me, because I don't need your permission. I'm gonna make it happen. I believe in myself. These are things that are true for me, and they can be true for you. So I want women to lead their own ship, to do their own journey, regardless of what barriers they encounter. And coming from someone who's done advocacy in domestic violence, a lot of that stems from power and control. I want women to have control of their own lives.
Taking back that control, taking back that power, and owning and embodying it, because that's what matters. Yes.
It's all about power with, not power to, right?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Power with, not power to.
Yeah, because I'm not, if I were to work with you, I'm not giving you power.
No.
I have nothing to do with your power. Yeah. You know what I mean? But we can build power together.
We can share power and build power together.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's just taking it out. I know it's in you. I know it's in you. You know what I mean? And I don't mean necessarily you, but anyone. I know it's in you.
Yeah.
And it's just sometimes we got to pull it out. They didn't know they have it inside.
Yeah. I believe, like, from different we talked a little bit about trauma, but from different life experiences or, past trauma, childhood experiences, sometimes people can feel powerless, like that power was taken away from them. So to be able to give that back and say, you still have that in you. This is still a part of you. This is something that's in you that you just need to show to the world and to bring out. That in itself speaks a lot.
For sure. I love that you are, you picked that up in the analogy just by hearing leadership.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to express.
Yes.
I didn't want to have to explain it, right? I wanted to be, it just shows for what it is, right?
And
I wanted to attract just for what it is, without having that explanation, and you said it, so that makes me feel so good,
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
All right, so is there anything that you want to leave us with?
Great question. I do want to leave you with being able to learn yourself. I think it does take time, right? It does take time to learn yourself.
It does.
But once you learn yourself, defining what your own personal mission is, you can do anything, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a job, and I'm not just talking about business owners and entrepreneurs, right? You can be an entrepreneur, right? Where you're doing entrepreneurship within a job, and it's just taking a leadership role, and it's not by a title, right? Because often what I find is that people are leaders but are not given the title. It has leadership never
leadership is more than just a title.
Absolutely, it never meant to be a title. But to learn themselves enough so that they can go ahead and lead, and then of course create other leaders.
Yes, because the best leaders are able to create other leaders to follow them.
Absolutely.
So I really enjoyed just chatting with you, and I look forward to us continuing this conversation, and there'll be many more times where we can get together and chat.
Please, yes.
All right.
Invite
Thanks,
me again.
Atneciv.
No, thank you for having me. Appreciate you.